All righty, welcome back, everybody. Hope everyone had a nice lunch break. Thanks for joining us for our final session of the day. We are going to be talking about planning and what is in store for the rest of the year. We know that it's a difficult time to think about planning with lingering uncertainty because of the pandemic, uncertainty around what the rest of the dance world is going to be doing this year, the recitals, competitions, other events that really drive and determine sales for dance retailers. We also know that last year's sales are, in most cases, a very unhelpful indicator of what we can expect this year. So to start to dive into some of those questions and hopefully answer some of them, help you as dance retailers get an idea of what might be in store for the rest of the year, we are going to hear from some studio owners, Becca Moore and Danny Rosenberg of Rhythm Dance Center, about what's happening in the studio world. We're going to talk to Sandy Coit of Starbound National Dance Competition about what's happening in the competition world, how those things might be relevant for you as dance retailers. And then we will hear from two very savvy dance retailers, Rashawn Buxton of Miss Rose Dance Closet and Jennifer Watson of Dancers Boutique, about what all of this means for them and how they are thinking about the rest of the year in terms of things like inventory management and sales and all of those things. We may or may not have time for questions at the end of this session, but please feel free to submit them in the chat or in the Q&A feature, and we will do our best to get to them. And to start things off, I'm going to pass it over to Becca and Danny of Rhythm Dance Center in Georgia to talk about what's happening with dance studios right now and perhaps what that means for dance retailers. Thank you, Danny and Becca, for being here.
Oh, start video. There we are. Okay, here we are. Hi, everybody. I'm Becca Moore.
I'm Danny Rosenberg.
And we own Rhythm Dance Center. We are located in Marietta, Georgia, and we are on season 29. So I feel like we've been doing this for forever. So we are very optimistic humans. So I will say that. So we're always thinking things are going to go, they're getting better. We feel great about it. But we do have a lot of stuff that we're going to share with you guys today, just on things, how we've been dealing with it. And then we also have another company called Confetti on the Dance Floor that we actually work with a lot of studio owners. And we're also obviously friends with 1 billion studio owners. So we can share a little bit of what we kind of are feeling and seeing from across the country, because for us being here in Georgia, we've actually been open since June, and we know that that is not the case for a lot of other studio owners. So all of us are really dealing with it very differently. And we feel really grateful that we've been able to make it happen. Of course, we have lots of protocols in place here. Our lobby's closed. We have smaller class sizes and all of that kind of stuff, but we are going strong. We typically have around 1,100-ish to 1,200-ish dancers at our studio. And this year our enrollment is right around 912. So we feel really good about that, even though, like I said, enrollment's down, we're still hanging strong. I think that dance is so important for kids, for their mental health, for their physical well-being. And I think especially all of these parents, like, they want their kids to be in dance class. They want to be here. So we've just been doing everything we can to keep moving forward. And so far, so good. I will say our summer enrollment is up by about 50%, maybe more than that. We're double where we are. We're double where we are for summer enrollment this year than where we were last year. So I think that that is a very
good sign.
Yes, a very big positive.
Just to kind of piggyback on what Becca was just saying, as far as our studio and where we're at right now and where we've been, we've adjusted pretty much everything within our studio, just like everybody has, if you're lucky enough to be in the studio. But our lobby is closed, like she said. We are using our exterior doors. Our dressing rooms are closed, which means our dress code has been simplified all year. We usually have a pretty strict ballet dress code for everybody, no matter how old you are. Black leotard, pink tights, the whole spiel. But we've done away with that for this year. We're just requiring everyone to wear black, whatever they want to wear, as long as it's solid black. They do have shoes. Our shoe requirements have stayed the same, but I haven't seen a pair of pink tights other than the ballet pieces we've competed the last few weekends all year long. So that's something that's different. Just having the dressing rooms closed and the lobby closed has, it was, the whole point was to keep people out of the studio as much as possible, keep sweaty dancers from having to change clothes really fast in our dressing rooms and
confined spaces. Yeah.
To keep, again, sweaty lost and found items piled up in the corner of the dressing room. So all that being said, we feel like we're on an upward approach to maybe, seeing things come back to where they were.
Yeah, I think for us, for our studio, we probably had a lot of kids run out at the beginning of the year and purchase all black dance wear, because for our jazz classes and hip hop classes and tap classes, they've been able to wear any colors, any styles that they wanted to wear. Ballet, obviously, like Danny said, pink tights, black leotard, but because we have done all black, then, I feel like they probably went out and bought it at the beginning of the year, but they haven't been buying as much dance wear probably as they would have normally.
And I think just overall, we've been more lenient, even for the classes. We still have a dress code and, guidelines, but we've just been way more lenient about our expectations and what everybody's doing.
We also have some pretty large performing companies at our studio. We have about 200 kids that are in performing companies across 11 different companies. And I will tell you that, again, like I said, we're optimistic, and we just finished this weekend our eighth event of the season. So we have been able to, here in Georgia, the competitions and conventions have been doing an awesome job of creating a safe event for us to go to. And although the first one was a little scary, the parents were timid, we were a little worried, but I have to say that we just finished this weekend. We were at 24/7, which is a convention. And then we also had a group at
League of Champions,
and both were awesome. We've had 0 incidences of COVID following a convention or a competition. So I will tell you where our parents are right now versus where they were when we first started the season is like
their confidence level has boosted.
Yes, their confidence level, they've seen it happen successfully. They feel good about what's happening. So I feel like that is an optimistic upward trend.
For sure. As far as where we see others that we work with, where they might be, like Becca said, in addition to Rhythm and having a ton of friends, studio owner friends through the studio, we also have Confetti on the Dance Floor, where we connect with studio owners and teachers from not just the US, but Canada and Europe even. So we feel like for the past year, we've been pretty well connected, and we've been able to see and hear what studios are doing across the country and beyond. And obviously, depending on where you're at, like we've said, it's different for everybody. But we are starting to see some of those teachers and studio owners find that confidence that they're going to be, they're getting phone calls for registration information. Their summer registration is already up where it was last year. They maybe have just started coming back into their studio, but they're already up in registration for summer. I think parents, bottom line, are ready to get their kids out and back into somewhat of a normal environment.
I do think with the positive things we've seen with the convention and competition world that we've been in this year, and just talking to some of those directors, I think that national events are going to be happening this summer. So I think that, kids are going to want to go. I think I want them to have new dance wear. So, we're ready for that change to come back. And I mean, just the people that we talked with, we were with a lot of dance studio owners this weekend, and every single one that we talked with was talking very positively. They have a ton of people calling them, they're ready to get the kids back in the studio. They're ready to have year-end shows. And that's kind of where we're going to now. We are having a show. We are doing it in a convention center this year. We were not able to get back into a theater, but the convention center is going to allow us to have a lot more space. So we are doing that. I will say from costume, like we probably order upwards of 3,000 recital costumes every year. And we always do it we figure it out in the fall. We place our orders in December and early January. We're like because we have so many, we want to be on it and get them in. And I will say that we've had more problems this year with some of the costume companies, and we only use 2 or 3, but we have had more problems with costume companies being able to meet the demand that we need by the date that we need. So that
by
has,
the date they've promised.
yeah, so that's been a little bit of a struggle for us, and it's been very rare that we've had that. I think one thing as a studio owner I would like to see is if the costume companies can't meet that deadline, I would love for them to try to come to us with a solution versus with a problem, because we're really open-minded at this point. I think all of us studio owners are. Yeah, like if you can't get us that costume that we need, then
can you get us half of it?
Yeah, can you get us half it? Yeah, can you change the trim? If you have a certain part of the fabric, is there anything that you could make work? Because what we've had to do now is we had, I think this just happened like 2 weeks ago, we had probably, I don't know the number, 500 costumes that weren't able to be here by our date. And for us, we have a cast of, we're having 10 shows to make it work. So we have 10 of everything. So that means we have like 100 of one costume or 150 of one costume.
As you know, it's probably all the same size because they're for the same
and
age.
It's just, ordering that right now in March, that's not a thing that we can make happen. We were able to figure it out. So there have been some costume companies that have come through and made it work. But I just think that like if that costume company could have come to us with a solution rather than a problem, that would have been helpful. Obviously we're all operating on the edge of chaos. That's true of any industry that is happening right now. We're all doing the best we can. But we did recycle a few costumes, but I think for us, for our studio, we ordered almost as many costumes as we would in a normal season, except for the fact that our enrollment has been down.
What does the future look like for us? Obviously we can't predict, and we can hope and pray that everything stays on the upward slope, but we're looking at taking things back to as normal as they can. Maybe not totally normal like they were before, but as close to it as possible. We want to open our lobby. I'm not going to lie, I kind of enjoy not having so many parents and so much traffic in the lobby, but we want to open it up to at least the students and have them be able to be in the dressing rooms and in the lobby in between classes and whatnot, get that energy back into the studio, back to a normal dress code, which of course will require tights and all of the things. It's time. I feel like this summer will be the first time that we're going to start pulling back on maybe the grids on the floor and temp taking and all of that kind of thing. So I feel like going into next season, next fall, things are really going to start looking, at least on our side of the country over here.
And I think if we feel that, I think that our parents are going to feel that. I think that other studio owners, like I said, for sure, I know it is different in every area of the country. So if you're in one of those states that still has like really strict rules, then that obviously is a different set of circumstances. But here where we are, we're definitely starting to see things like come around. I feel like in general, people feel ready and optimistic to move into back into, doing more of the normal things. So we also made a few notes, just some general thoughts and tips that would help us, that would help you, I hope.
As the retailers.
One idea that we had was just like, I think that, everybody always talks about customer experience, and you always hear that people want it to make it as easy as possible to purchase from you, or as easy as possible to register at your studio. So I think if you are a dance retailer, I think reach out to the dance studios in your area. I think if you do a little of that legwork for us, I know for us, like the dance stores that we work with here in Atlanta, we go to them. We always have. Like they of course reach out to us here and there, but like if a dancewear store came to me and walked in or sent us a Google form and said, hey, here, fill this out. We want to put this in our store. We want to help your students, make it as easy as possible for your students to purchase from us. That's just something, honestly, no one, and we've been around 29 years. We have a lot of dancewear stores in our area. So if there's a way that you could reach out to your local studios and just say, hey, what can I do for you? What would make it easier for you? Whether it's
just kind of simplifying the process, but reaching out and kind of consolidating everything into one area, which was where I was going to lead to. If you have an online presence, everybody wants to be able to just get on their phone and order something quickly. And I feel like the few websites I've been on recently, the website looks great on the homepage, but when you start to actually order anything or look at the inventory, you just can't find as much online as you would if you were physically in the store. And for this past year, that hasn't really been as big of an option for everybody.
I mean, I think certainly like there's the big, you know, like Discount Dance and
Of course.
Dancewear Solutions, all of that kind of stuff. If you're ordering from there, it's a different story. But like the smaller, like local dance studios, I feel like if you are going to have an online presence, like have that online presence and make it easier. Again, it's all going back to, we are the consumers of what you have to offer. So we want it to be just as easy, just like when we're
for us and our customers.
Yeah, for us to tell our customers. So the more legwork you could do to help us, you know, get there, then we would do that. Another thing that I think would be a good idea is like for a lot of ours, we have a lot of competitive kids that go to conventions and do auditions for different summer workshops. When that's happening, anytime you can add something cool or different or more colorful in your store, let us know about that. We'll send kids in, or, you know, maybe you can do a small pop-up shop within the studio or something like that. That would be a good thing too.
Keeping us updated on anything else that you guys might do, whether it's screen printing or custom dance bags, or I feel like I'm just so used to black leotard, pink tights, go for your required dance wear. And I don't even know, you guys might offer so many other options and, you know, services for our customers that we don't even know about. So really just reaching out, letting us know what you do besides the basics.
Yeah, because you may do something that we don't know, and I would love to hear about
Team
that.
wear and whatnot.
And then also, I don't know, this may be a crazy idea, but like maybe even looking into sponsoring a senior company at a studio. Like we're going to give everybody in your senior company a black leotard for their ballet class. And then in change, we would post that on our social media, or we would let everyone at our studio know that you are the sponsor. I know that sports teams do that all the time. So that could be an option too, is to sponsor a small, you know, I'm not saying give out free things to the whole studio, but something like that. And then also influencers. I'm sure a lot of you are doing that already, but like we have influencers at our studio. So even if you provided a few things to the kids at our studio that are the influencers or the, you know, the best dancers or the people that are on social media all the time, that's another way to get your name out there. I think we're out of time, but that's kind of where we are. If you have any questions, we're always open to answer them. Like she said, if we run out of time here and you want to message us on Instagram, we're at Rhythm Dance Center, and we'd be happy to give you more info. But I wish all of you guys the best of luck. And we, like I said, we're optimistic people. So we're rooting for you. We're rooting for the dance industry. And thank you so much to Dance Media and Dance Business Weekly for doing this. I think it's a great idea.
Yes, thank you so much.
Thank you, Becca and Danny. That was really helpful. Lots of great ideas. And if anyone has questions for them, if you want to put them in the chat, we might be able to get to them at the end. And if not, maybe they can answer you in the chat as well. All right, we are now going to turn it over to Sandy Coit, who is going to talk about what is going on in the competition world and what that means for dance retailers.
Thank you, Lauren. I appreciate that. I don't know if you can, there we go. I think that's, nope, I can't use my video. Can you guys see me or not? I'm not sure.
Not right now.
No, so it won't let me start the video, just so you know. It says because the host has stopped it. Okay.
We will get that fixed for you if you just want to. Oh, there we go.
You got me. How about that? Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in today. And I hope that in the few minutes I get to speak, that I can offer you some sort of hope for the future. This was a rough year for all of us. Dance competitions, such as us, dance studios. Before I became a dance competition owner 28 years ago, I owned a dance school for 11 years. So I know both of those areas very, very well. I've dealt with costume companies and dancewear companies, and I know all the challenges that we had. It was definitely a rough year, 2020 to 2021, but I hope to bring you some inspiration, real live inspiration. Couple things are changing in the industry, where if you remember, any of you way back when, competitions ran like February to May. That was pretty much it. And then they did finals in July. because of the pandemic, we were forced to roll some of our shows, and many of us had shows in August, September, October of this year. Studios were very grateful that we were able to have competitions during those months. And what I didn't know is that there would be a request for that. So we are now shifting through where normally August, September, October are months that we are shut down and regrouping, and we personally reopen in November. We will be starting our 2022 season this coming September. So where calendars normally went from November to July, they'll be going from September to July. Good news for dancewear companies, costume companies, etc. So what do I see? I see the market is increasing in the months that we get to use. I also see that everything, dance studios, and speaking to our dance teachers, that the enrollment, although it's down right now, just like Becca and Danny said, the request for the summer has been up, and therefore the fall, our prediction is it's going to be a boom for dance studios in the fall. A boom for dance studios means a boom for dancewear companies as well. So I think things are looking up and things are getting better. Dance studios are going to have more more people enrolled in their summer programs. And I don't know if they're going to even be able to handle as many people as they're going to get in the fall. I know from the competition, and we have are selling out our shows. We cannot accommodate everyone. I know I speak to colleagues who are also competition owners, and they're experiencing the same thing. So the want, the need, the desire to take dance class, to compete, to wear the dance wear, to wear the costumes, the desire is there, the market's there. And I think that if I had to predict, that come September, we're all going to be, have more than we probably can handle. And I do think that is something that we need to prepare for, is that boom, because there will be a boom. It's already starting. Like Becca and Danny said, the phones are ringing more. The summer classes are on the rise. September is already looking like it's going to be much bigger. And those numbers, although down this season, are going to return. Keep in mind that many people who had 3-year-olds and 4-year-olds, they maybe took, during a pandemic said, you know what, I'll wait a year before I start my child dancing. Now those doors are opening. The pandemic is lessening, especially in certain states, the restrictions are lessening, and therefore that younger bread and butter market is returning to the schools. So I think when you start doing September registration, do it early for the dance schools, dance wear companies. I know the hard part is that when the pandemic hit, everybody got stuck with a lot of stock that wasn't moving. I don't think that's going to be the case for 2021, ending of 21 into 22. I think it's going to be the reverse, that you're going to run out of things, and you probably should start projecting how quickly you can get those items. For example, one of the reasons the costume companies are having difficulty supplying, I believe, is because the stuff is some of that is purchased to keep the pricing down from overseas. And so there's a shipping delay. Some of that might also be, even if they're buying within the United States, might be that they have a reduced staff on. So there are reasons and preparations for those booms. Now that we're all starting to see everyone competing again, everyone starting to have an interest in dance studios again and coming back, and our 3-year-olds registering, I think we need to be prepared for that boom. And I am very much going to call it a boom. I think we're going to be booming by fall. From a competition perspective, again, the shows are all full. There's no room to get anyone else in. So that's a good sign for costume companies, dancewear companies, and I would imagine dance studios who are doing the choreography and the preparations. I will say that in speaking to many of the dance studios, that they are buying new dancewear and new costumes that they've retired some of last year's. So one of the concerns was that we would have last year's costumes or last year's dancewear. Well, kids grow, and that's not a simple thing to do. So many of the studios I spoke to, like I spoke to a really big school in Middletown, New Jersey, and she just told me that they made sure they got enough things in September, October, which is probably why the studios were trying to get those routines performed, to retire those costumes and now buy new. Again, the problem's going to be getting the product. And I don't know if it's the same for dancewear companies, but don't be afraid. This is my best advice, and hopefully it will hold true, and you'll say, okay, that was right. Don't be afraid to buy your inventory. You're not going to get stuck with it. Dance is not going anywhere, and we're going to return. And I believe that return is going to be fully in September. Things will be back to normal in September. And we're going to feel that normal. Now, like Becca and Danny said, we're operating on the edge of chaos. I love that. We're all operating on the edge of chaos, right? Studio blocks, bracelets, sessions, to come to a competition is nothing like it was in the past. Do we plan on that being what it is throughout the future? I know a lot of dance teachers have said, oh, this is great, these studio blocks. I only have to come on Saturday for a couple of years, for a couple of hours. That is not the case. All of us, and I'm sure everyone out there on some level, wants to return to a normal, our normal, not a new normal, the normal, which is our normal of not worrying about one parent coming or two parents coming, but opening the doors to our spectators. Just like the studios are saying, well, it's kind of nice not having anyone in the lobby. On some level, it's easier to manage not having an audience, but it's the audience that inspires us and inspires the kids. So our hope is that things open up and that next year we're looking at somewhat of our normal. And I really, in my heart of hearts, believe that boom is happening. I see it, I hear it. I'm talking to other competition directors. I'm talking to dance teachers on a regular basis, and everyone is seeing the same thing. The enrollment is up for the summer. The enrollment for September is already beginning to happen. Again, those parents who held their kids from going are now coming back.